All right, so before we start, there are actually a few things that have to be mentioned here. First of all, I actually want to give credit to the person who has wrote these questions, and these questions can be found in the Reddit in casual conversation updated by Sushi Deception. So, Sushi Deception, if you're reading this, thank you so much for the questions, and we'll create a video about that. And one last thing, these questions have not been read yet by me. I've only read a few of them. I haven't read many of them, and we will be going through them thoroughly. And this will be a completely natural reaction. I'll be as shocked as you if anything happens. And without further ado, I hope you enjoy this series, and let's get into the questions. So, yeah, the very first question is, what is the smallest thing for which you are grateful? The smallest thing for which I'm grateful is that I will probably say it's my family. Like, just having people around me when I need them, being happy. Some people, they can have the whole world with them and still be miserable, disappointed, and sad. And some of us are just happy with the most minimalistic of things. So, yeah, this is one thing which I'm actually grateful for. The next thing that I'm, the next question is, what has had the most positive impact on your life? I would probably say my mother. Like, my mother has been there the whole time. Like, I've had a lot of rough times, especially over the past few years. And whenever I'm having a very rough time, it's always my mother who I would turn back to, the person who I talk with. She would give me advice and she would always be supportive. So, yeah, she's the most positive, impacting person in my life. Now, let's hop on to the third question. If you could use a time machine, would you rather have one that only goes back in time or only goes forward? I'll probably go forward over here because the thing is, if you go back in time, you're just seeing old people, relatives, and I get it. Most of you do love memories and all of that, but life is all about moving forward. I would be a little bit more interested to see what life would be like in 2030 if technology killed us or not, if we actually made it to Mars, if any of these big dreams ever happened, or the horrors of our lives actually occurred. So yeah, I will probably go forward in time. If you got a promotion, job, a college acceptance, an accolade, award, or just generally accomplished something major, who is the first person you tell and how do you think they'd react? First person I tell will probably also be my mother. She's been waiting to hear some good news from me for years now, but can't seem to deliver it for some reason or the other. But if I do get something that would make her happy, I would definitely tell her as soon as I get it. And then I would tell, like my friends, or maybe if I had a girlfriend, I would tell her as well. You get the point. But the very first person I'd go for is definitely my mother. If you were an inanimate object, inanimate basically means like you're not a living creature, what would you be and why? If I were an inanimate object, I'd probably be a tree. And why would I be a tree? Well, I'd be giving you guys free oxygen to breathe and live. And for some reason, you guys would still chop us off and make papers out of us. Humans, where do you wish you had grown up? Hmm, I'm honestly not sure about this one. Where do I wish I had grown up? Probably say the United States if I were to be completely honest. I mean, you guys seem to be having the dream life and you guys seem to be having a lot of fun. I don't know, I haven't been much to the States, only 15 days before. Haven't seen much. I've seen a few happy fellas. Couldn't judge, but if I were to grow up, I'd probably grow up in the United States. If I would have known more, I would have changed my mind. If you could be good at any profession without having to receive the accompanying education or trade experience, which would you choose? Mm, I probably still choose being an engineer. Like, okay, I get it. I don't like engineering that much. It could be a little bit frustrating. Maybe I'm just brand new to this whole thing. But personally, I would still love to stay in engineering. Like, as frustrating as it gets, I actually have a good time when I see a project that I've been working on with for a very long time finally come to life. Not many people would love it, but I would still be happy as an engineer because it just makes me feel good that I have created something. Even if nobody cares or knows what exactly it does, over time they would, but I'm still happy with what I create. Eighth question. What is something you're terrible at but wish you could do well? It's going to be similar to the seventh question. Being an engineer. mostly in the electrical area. I tend to suffer a lot in this specific area, and I have a very hard time being an electrical engineer. But if I would get a little bit better, I'd probably be happier. Or better yet, maybe get better at being an entrepreneur, hopefully in the future sometime. Yeah, that would make me happier if I would get better at it. What is the quality you admire the most in the people you dislike the most? That's an interesting one. If you know anything about me, I tend to get into arguments with a lot of people here and there, and it's mostly because majority of them are arrogant or they just don't care about anything. That's one quality that I truly like about them. Personally, like as a kid, I would always care about the emotions and feelings of people, and to some extent, I still do. But the ones who usually tend to care less somehow attract majority of the people with their confidence. I really want to learn the confidence area out of that. I don't want to be arrogant or aggressive, but I need to know how to man up and own my actions. That's something that I truly like about the people that I just dislike the most. What was the most recent thing that made you cry? When was the last time I cried? I genuinely don't remember. But I think the most recent thing that made me cry would usually just be living in isolation with the whole corona and the continuous lockdowns. I just don't like the lockdowns. Feel so lonely. It makes me do stuff that I wouldn't usually do. It makes me say stuff that I usually wouldn't say. But yeah, that's about it. Like isolation and lockdown and lack of physical appearance of people around me that does make me cry sometimes. What are the books, movies, games that never get old and always make you feel better when you get down? Well, as a big car guy, you would expect me to say something like Fast and Furious, but no, actually, my favorite movie is Need for Speed. Whenever I feel down, whenever I feel sad, I would just open YouTube, find some links to click on for this movie specifically, and I just watch it. I mean, I just like the action of cars mixed with girls. I mean, it's just my dream life, man. You know, a mix of cars and girls is everything that a guy would want, especially me. I'm just all into this stuff. So yeah, this would make me happier watching the movie Need for Speed from 2014. That's about all I want to do for now. What is the most trivial thing about which you have a strong opinion? Trivial. Majority of the time, I would just advise people to just take good care of themselves. Like I think majority of the people, they would allow themselves to be disrespected, and over a long period of time, people would just be stomping all over them, and they'd be wondering why the world is rude. And most of the time, I would say it's because you have thought that they were just kidding with you, and they were not, and they were completely disrespecting you. Might seem trivial, but the effects on the long term are just devastating. So this is actually a topic that I have a very strong opinion about. If you could be any mythical creature, what would you be and why? Mythical creature. Okay, I'll just take the beginner answer here and say be a dragon. Like these guys clearly just don't give a damn about anything or anyone. They would just attack and kill, and nobody actually could match with them with their big wings. So yeah, I would probably go ahead and decide to be a dragon one day if I could be a mythical creature. If you had more than one job, which job taught you the most? To be honest, dealing with teammates in college has taught me a lot about how shitty people can be sometimes. Like, no offense, but it's just the reality that we live in. And I haven't had a job like until now. I've been really struggling here because here in Malaysia, only the locals can get the easy jobs, and the internationals would have a really tough time with that. If you could change one thing about yourself physically, what would you change? One thing about me physically that I could change, honestly, I like my physical appearance. Like I'm happy with that. I like my long hair. I like my beard. Kind of happy with myself to be honest. But one thing I do want is for the muscle memory to work quickly when I hit the gym again. To those of you who don't know, I used to train the gym for like 2.5 years before this whole corona pandemic happened, and lost a lot of muscle over the last year and a half. And I just want this all to come back physically. That would make me more than happy. What single event or decision do you think most affected the rest of your life? Was there a turning point in your life? yes, there was a turning point in my life. You guys know I've been living here in Malaysia and I've lived for about 5 years and a half now. And ever since I came here, things have been completely turned upside down for me, 180-degree flipped. And I would say that this has changed my life forever. I've seen the world from a very different perspective. I don't think that people are kind as I used to think in the past, and I just don't allow anyone to walk all over me anymore. Well, as long as I'm certain of it, rest assured I'm not going to allow people to mistreat me. Because in the past, I would just allow anyone to walk all over me and I wouldn't care. But for now, I think that traveling alone has changed my life forever in many ways than I can actually express in a video. What is the one thing you've made that you're most proud of? So far, honestly, the most recent thing is that I've studied multiple data science and artificial courses over the past few months, over the last semester break, basically. And I have written some algorithms that could just wow a lot of people. And if people actually had an idea of what exactly I have, well, not exactly what I have on my computer because these are rookie stuff, but like if I could show them to people and they would just give me a positive comment, then yeah, that would make me really happy. And even if people don't know about it, I'm still happy with what I have written in code and what it can do. Some historical figures have epithets that attach to their names, like the mad or the wise. What would you like yours to be? Uh, yeah, that one's actually pretty easy. I would go with something known as the zenith. Now, if anyone who doesn't know what exactly zenith means, Zenith, zenith basically means like the point at the top of the world, like, the best of the best, something that you would really need a lot of effort to get to. The way I see it, like the zenith is actually an epithet that would make me happy. All right. Question 19. What was the best year of your life and which one was the worst? To be honest, I would say the best year was actually this year. This is the year that I have actually started getting a grip of what exactly is going on to me in life for time and getting some ideas like, okay, they weren't the best and some of them were really bad, but at least there is something happening in my life. It's not as boring as the past 4 years where I just couldn't get control of anything. The worst year of my life, I would say, was actually 2017. Like, I've suffered tremendous amounts of physical, emotional, and mental pain. I just don't want to talk about it anymore. But here's the thing, whatever happens, all of these years will pass by just like any other year, and we will be enjoying our life later on in the future. All right. Question 20. What's one thing, whether it's something you did or something you made or something you caused to happen, would you like to be remembered by? To be honest, I'd be more than happy if just that I feel one day that I have changed someone's life for the better, like maybe I have written something out there that helped someone, or maybe I've made someone happy, or I've saved someone from something disastrous by being a little bit mean to them. That would be more, that would mean a lot to me, and I would be more than happy with that. And yep, question 21. Oh, and I forgot to mention that in this video, we'll be answering 25 questions. There's literally 300 of them. So I'll be splitting this into a 12 video series, and I just hope that you enjoy them. All right. What has been the biggest change of heart you've had? Have you ever started off on one side of an issue and wound up on the other? What influenced that change? I honestly have no idea how to answer this one, but what I would say is that I've actually had some times where I could have been the bad one in the story and I never knew it, but for majority of the time, I would say that I've been, like bullied in the past and all that, and I just didn't want to bully anyone, but I wanted to learn how to stand up for myself. But for some period of time, I was actually the bully myself, and I didn't even know it. But yeah, in the end, I realized, and I'm just trying to balance both right now, where you can take advantage of me, but I wouldn't be the bully either. All right, question 22. What is your biggest non-academic, non-work related accomplishment? My biggest non-academic, non-work related accomplishment. I would say just building a decent body before I have lost it all. Like, I had some muscle quantity and that would make me happy. And also learning, how to approach girls in public. That's something that I could do nowadays with ease, but it was never easy for me at the very start. But yeah, it actually makes me proud that at least I could do and get whatever I want when I want it. Not many people have that. What is your biggest academic or work-related accomplishment? The biggest accomplishment for me so far is actually surviving this far in life. I would just say that. Because, studying engineering with all the hassle and the struggle going on in university life, I think if you just survive that, then you're golden. What is something you've done, felt, seen that you wish you could experience again for the first time? Falling in lust. When you don't know anything about love and you have your very first girlfriend and all that, it's just an amazing time before you get struck with the reality that you're not ready for that and you don't know anything about it. It's a really good experience if I were to say so myself. And to be honest, I would love to fall in lust all over again without having to learn the lessons that go on behind the scenes. So these are just very painful lessons. All right, last question for this video. If you could erase one thing or event from your memory, what would you choose? To be honest, I wouldn't erase anything. Why would I erase anything? Everything in my memory has taught me something, and I have learned a lot about life out of all of that. And hopefully you do too, because everything that we pass through teaches us a very harsh lesson. All right, that's about it for this one first video of this series, and hopefully there will be a second part in the future. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like this button, hit the subscribe bell below, and hit the bell below so that you don't miss the second part of this series. And I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.